to Ideas with Impact podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra. Today I had the pleasure of introducing Luci Lampe, a beautiful mom of four. She's a trauma-informed sex and relationship coach, an award-winning singer and a songwriter, commercial actress and a print model, and a 3 times author. Her writing has been featured on Huffington Post, Forbes, Entrepreneur.com, CBS, and Fox. After overcoming an autoimmune disorder and embarking on a deep healing journey and a spiritual awakening during her then husband's 2-year disability and depression, Luci returned with the bold message of love, courage, and freedom. Professionally, she draws upon her studies and certification in neurolinguistics programming, somatic experiencing, cognitive behavior therapy, hypnotherapy, Reiki, EFT tapping, and her degree in exercise science to create unique, powerful programs and curriculum for clients and members. Welcome, Luci Lampe. Hello, Luci. How are you, honey?
I'm doing great. Feeling a new surge of energy. Did a bunch of spring cleaning. I'm just, yes.
Yeah, well, it's like spring here. Spring here as well. It's like super nice and warm. When I came back from Nicaragua last week, it was just like, 3/4 of the snow is gone. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool.
It's different energy.
So I'm super excited to have you. You are a trauma-based sex and relationship coach. You are a mama of 4 beautiful children, and you are a wife of 17-year.
Well, not anymore. So that is the part.
No.
Yes. We've gone through a whole uncoupling and divorce. I know if it's been a while since anyone has looked through my content, that has been a hot topic in all of my podcast conversations these past couple months, once I was ready to talk about it, which I'm happy to. But, going through all of the different parts of the journey, I am open to sharing more.
Yeah. So, I've watched you for quite some time, and I've been a huge fan of your work and everything. And because you went through some hard times in your relationship.
Yes,
and I think we all do through the up and downs in a relationship, right? And I went through my own. That's a topic for another story. But yeah, so if you'd like to share with us, maybe we're not going to jump there right away, but share what you do with audience and what is your purpose? What are you trying to teach women?
Yeah, so the biggest theme is helping women connect with the fullness of who they are, reconnect with their hearts, with their bodies, with their pleasure, with their sexuality. But even beyond the sexuality, it's the erotic aliveness in us. So that encompasses all, the dark and the light, feminine and inner polarity, so that we can really channel that powerful life force energy into everything that we do, not just our sex lives or our intimate lives. And I also do work with couples, and I'm still working with couples. I wasn't sure how that was going to go after, my own process, but helping them come back to their hearts as well and really be in integrity with their hearts and see where the relationship aligns within that. Everything that I teach, every course that I create, everything that I write about in my socials comes from the personal lived experience. It's not a theory or something I've observed necessarily just in other people, but literally something that I have devoted myself to embodying. And yes, have gone through many hardships. A big catalyst in my own journey was actually back in 2015, 2016, when Ryan, my previous husband, was going through about 2.5 years of depression and disability. And I was pregnant with our 4th child and developed an autoimmune disorder. And that was the low point. That if I say there was a low point, that was it. Where I felt trapped in my body, and I thought, okay, something needs to change, and I can't change my environment necessarily or the circumstances, but there's something that I can go deeper into within myself. And that led me to exploring different kinds of healing modalities and tools and resources and trainings and all of that. So we did have massive turnaround. He got into doing the work as well, started to unlock and heal all kinds of trauma, lots of inner child work, shadow work, erotic embodiment work. And ultimately, this divorce has been a second massive catalyst for me in my own journey, because he needed to go in a direction that I could not follow him. I could not follow him there. For me to follow him there, it would have required me to abandon my heart. So that's something I really strongly emphasize to those who see that we have uncoupled and see, oh my God, if you can't make it work, then what chance do I have? And their abandonment wounds are triggered, that if you're not enough woman for him, then who will be? And it's not that. It's that sometimes people, for them to follow their true north, we have to set them free. And it's a hard truth. We did part with peace and with love, and he made some pretty extreme life choices that I just couldn't follow. But yes, all of these things, they shape all our experiences, and how we approach them shape who we are. And that is the medicine that I bring into the world.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. I can relate in terms of the relationship going in the wrong direction, or one person's stuck and then you're growing and the other person is not. And it's like, how do you manage that? Right. So I'm like, quickly say that I've been separated for 6 years myself. Very long time. It hurt a lot, but like you just said, you have to let go of that. I want to be with that person. I really want to do this, and I want to do it with him and all that stuff. And once I let go, things have changed. So the beautiful part for me, being apart for 6 years, we did come together, and it's I'd say year and a half we've been together, and it's absolutely amazing. It's been quite a journey. It's been a long journey of awakening and of literally going within, like you mentioned, like really trying to find out of, first of all, who we are, what we are for, what are we doing? Because I also have 3 children, so it was quite difficult, especially for me as a mom, to really be like, oh my gosh, my family is falling apart. What's going on? But I think it was for the best for both of us to come where we are right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something to be said too about the depth of work that we can do within. Let's say, for example, like the last 2.5 years of my marriage were so absolutely crucial. That is the pressure cooker that the universe really expanded me, that prepared me for this, actually, looking back in retrospect. Because in certain things, it became increasingly challenging, and there were certain friction around things like me wanting to be monogamous and him wanting to be free to explore options. And even that kept bringing it back to the table and say, okay, how can we come to a relationship agreement that honors both of our hearts and desires, and then continue staying true in our integrity, and seeing, eventually there will come a fork in the road. It's going to be this way or this way, because neither person needs to compromise who they believe they truly are at their core. And that wasn't the actual decision.
But do you think there's a lot of that in perspective in relationship, when one person wants to go and explore and the other person doesn't, and that's where a lot of relationships
that's really
fail?
common. A lot of couples come to me for that, and how I advise them is, okay, as long as you have clear boundaries and relationship agreements, and you're communicating and you're honest, and you're not withholding truths from each other. That was an absolute boundary.
Yes, because then people can make that decision for themselves, right?
Yes, because we need that space to play. And we both did have that period of where, what do we want? What do we, because there is in forms of relating styles, right? There is a conscious versus an unconscious monogamy, and a conscious versus unconscious, non-monogamy. So we want to dig deeper into, am I doing this because I am afraid of abandonment, or I am, out of my wounding? Or is this really what my heart really desires, and what will align with my life purpose here? So I discovered I'm a deeply monogamous, devoted to one person kind of woman. And he was not.
Hallelujah, baby.
Yeah. I'm like, that just didn't feel safe to my nervous system. The idea of anywhere we could go, this could just disintegrate. But still, I stuck with it for 2 years. 2 years, Alexandra. And it was the fucking hardest 2 years to keep going deeper into my abandonment wound, to keep going deeper into, oh, the death, every single time that it came up. And that prepared me to be able to let go with peace and love and wish him well. But for us, there were also some very sensitive and extreme mental health issues. It wasn't just a matter of how to relate. Those are the things that I don't speak on publicly, just to honor his privacy and ours.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's absolutely, I mean, everybody needs to have that space, right? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
can you explain to me or explain to the audience what sacred union means in a conjugal relationship and why is it important for personal growth and healing itself?
Well, so when I think of and speak of sacred union, I begin with really the foundations of it, which is sacred union with the divine itself. So we one with the source, whatever that looks like for each person and their belief systems. But there's that oneness, and then there's the sacred union within ourselves. Of, say, the languaging that we'll often use is between our masculine and feminine energies. So if I'm really connected to the sacred masculine, and I'm trusting that is holding me and supporting me and guiding me, then I'm not just looking to my relationship to say, you need to provide all of my needs and you need to be the grounded one and you need to hold space for me and you need to, be unwavering in your truth. Like, I embody that in myself. And when I do that, I can recognize it in a partner, and I can also feel more safe in my body to fully drop into that more feminine surrender and trust and, yes, follow your protection and your guidance. I think that a lot of times what's missing in the idea of sacred union or these polarity, things, is that inner union. So then it just becomes another form of codependence instead of interdependence. So, does that make sense? That's really how I like
It
to begin
does.
that conversation.
It does. I can put myself in that position where I, for many years in my relationship, became so codependent. And it's like, again, finding myself trying to really find of like after we separated, it was just like, okay, what's going on, and going deep and really feeling and healing to now to
Yes.
actually be in that sacred union of understanding and communication. I think communication is absolutely one of the biggest part of a relationship. Being
Yeah, just default by default. And it's not even just the communication, but really open-hearted communication. Because I will often see, couples that I work with where one is more open-hearted and the other one might be saying all the right things on paper, but they're not feeling their heart because they're trying to perform and get it right. And speaking from the heart
right.
requires you to be willing to be messy and vulnerable and risky. And that's where the deepest intimacy, that was one of the biggest skills that I got to practice within my marriage, was bringing my whole heart to the table and saying, like, I'm not attacking you in this or blaming you for this, but here is my heart. Here's what hurts. Here's what I'm afraid of. Here's what I desire. Here's what I'm asking more of from you, without holding back. And I get to bring that into my life now and into the relationships that I have, no matter what they are. So there's a lot of that that's very helpful to practice within relationships.
What can you, what kind of strategies or practices you can suggest maybe that support, for example, sexual healing for, let's just talk about women for now, because
Yeah.
I think women hold so much inside. They just don't know how to go through that. So I went, like I mentioned to you earlier when we talked, I went to Nicaragua for my retreat. And there was one lady that came and she did, which I personally never heard of, a womb healing. And we did the
Yeah.
whole ceremony about womb healing. And she was talking about how much tension we hold in our womb, and to release that, and to again to come into that sexual healing of ourselves and open up as a woman. It was for me, at least, because I'm going through this sexual healing part of it myself. It was
Yeah.
huge. It was very much eye-opening for me. So is there
Yes.
anything
Oh,
you can share with that
I
or?
could talk about this all day. So let me see how I can
Awesome.
condense it. Well, so this is a multifaceted, multi-layered thing that we're diving into, right? We're
Mhm.
talking it's physiological, right? A lot of times women have tight pelvic floors, chronically
Mhm.
tight pelvic floor muscles around their pelvic girdle. Um, Physiologically will just feel locked up. But then also there's the energetic aspect of,
Mhm.
you know, the energy of old lovers or the energy of fear from having been penetrated too early. Your body distrusts you before you were ready to be penetrated, you know, even if you're doing it to yourself. Um,
Mhm.
then there's the spiritual aspect of it. There's like this deep activation of this powerful wisdom center. For me, when I drop into my body and ask if it is a yes or a no, it's literally deep, deep, deep in my womb, like where my cervix meets my womb. That
Mhm.
is the space that I get wisdoms from spirit. Like that's where it's like fuck
Mhm.
yes or fuck no. And so when we
Mhm.
start to connect with this and we start to realize that we hold a lot of fear in this part of our body too, because inherently there's a lot of unsafe feeling that comes with existing as a woman in the world.
Mhm.
You know, if you dress this way, you're asking for it.
Right.
Don't be too sexy. Don't be too erotic. What are you trying to get validation for? You know,
Right.
and you can literally feel like you can be physically unsafe if you are too erotic, if you're
Mhm.
too alive. When actually the interesting thing is the irony is the quite the opposite is true. When we have these resistances within our body, we tend to energetically attract more of those kinds of interactions into our field. But when
Mhm.
we are integrated in our sexuality, we don't get all these bros sliding into the DMs asking if we want dick pics. I haven't had those in a long, long time. People ask
Yes.
me, "What do you get solicited?" I do not. It doesn't mean that it would never happen, but you know, I
Yeah.
have noticed that, and other women say the same because they recognize an embodied woman when they see it, when they see
Mhm.
her, when they see that embodiment, they recognize it,
Mhm.
and they will not fuck with it. There's a power about it. So, so when you start to tap into your womb and your sexual energy, you unlock your whole life, your
Mhm.
creativity, your connection to the source, your intuition, your ability to bring things into the world, like birth ideas into the world. So it's very exciting that you're beginning this because it just blasted my whole life open. And the two practices that I bring it back, well, three really. One was I think maybe the least audacious one, but was
Mhm.
pretty out there for me, was reconnecting with my ancestors and
Mhm.
ancestral veneration. You know, I'm beginning to learn more about my blood origins,
Mhm.
and I'm largely indigenous South American, and I grew up in the States, but I was born in Peru, and I've always felt a strong pull to the customs and cultures, but never knew anything about it. So there's that, and then just connecting with the spirit realm in general and feeling that aliveness.
Is it
And
true
then
that
there's a
we can,
self-conscious.
is
Mhm.
it, sorry for interrupting, is it true that we can go back to 7 or 8 years to our ancestors
uh,
to actually start healing?
Generations, yes,
Generations,
7
yes.
or more generations, yes. Now they're saying up to 14, and that's just the physical epigenetics, let
Hmm.
alone the spiritual aspect of things. Yeah. So and
Wow.
that's what we carry in our DNA, in our bodies.
Right.
So but you can connect with, in a spiritual way, you can connect with as far back as they want to, as you're open to it.
Oh my God, you just gave me
But
goosebumps.
that was really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those listening, you know, if you don't know your origins, there's something so powerful and irreplaceable
Mhm.
about doing whatever it takes to learn more about that, if you can. If you can. I know some people, they're adopted and they maybe have no connection with their bloodlines. Um, but even then, maybe you can work with some kind of spiritual mediums to help you connect with them, that type of
Mhm.
thing. Um, so that was one piece. A second piece was beginning to do a conscious self pleasure ritual as a
Mhm.
practice.
What is that?
Because yeah, so once you start actually physically touching yourself and
Mhm.
and approaching that as a practice of being deeply present,
Mhm.
not as a means to have an orgasm. And if you do, that's great. I'm all about it. I'll have many every time. But when I first started this practice, I could barely have one, and then I'm like overstimulated, and it was like a sneeze. Now it's like a whole earth shattering. It's a mess, honestly. It's a mess, and it's great. I never thought my body would be able to do the things that it releases now. Um, but there was so much rage that came up for me at the beginning of this practice. So much shame, so much disgust, so
Mm-hmm.
much fear. And so when women start a pleasure practice, it's often not very pleasurable.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to really emphasize that up front, because you're really confronting the deepest parts of your shadow through this intimacy with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and allowing your body to tell you when it's ready to welcome you in. And then there's the whole process of de-armoring the inside of the vagina. That's also very tied into emotional and heart opening kind of de-armoring. So that was a practice that I continue to this day. It's been many years now. But that first year especially, it looked very, it was a very healing container,
Mm-hmm.
like nothing else I'd experienced. And then the third thing is movement. So embodied movement, dance. Um, I started just learning how to move my body, letting it move freely and making that a daily practice. And then I started pole dancing 4 years ago, and that
Mm-hmm.
just really brought something else to life in me. And I only ever, do it at home, and maybe I'll involve it in my music performances one day. I don't know. Hard to hold a mic and do pole at the same time. But
That
yeah. And now I'm
would be
launching the
cool.
course on dance. Yeah, that would be cool. A
That
headset
would be
mic.
so
I'll need a
cool,
headset
right?
mic.
Like I'm pretty athletic.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, let me do this
yeah,
inversion while I sing.
yeah. The connection, the somatic dance, we've done that as well at the retreat, and it was absolutely.
Yeah.
I find the first time it was very robotic because
Yeah, it can feel
we
awkward.
women, we were like, oh my gosh, really? And like you said, it's that shame, it's that
Yes.
judgment. I think we were so afraid of judging, not judging others, but even judging ourselves, that we were like, oh my gosh, we're dancing and we're like literally like this. So then after,
Yes.
our girl that was presenting this whole thing, she's like, girls, let go of that shit. Let go, forget it. Just be you. And literally, I think the second day we all just went nuts. We all just went on
Yes. Because
our
you have
stage
permission.
and we went on. Yes, we let ourselves loose. And it was so liberating that you just said, I just got back about a week ago and I feel like, you got to move your body and feel that. It feels so
Yeah.
amazing. It feels beautiful.
Yes. And you keep
Yeah.
doing that, and then you look back years later, the difference is,
Yeah.
it's just unrecognizable.
We just
Like the way I
carry
used to move.
ourselves differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
whole representation of a woman. Yeah, it's completely different.
And you
Instead of
feel at
being,
home in your body. All of
yeah,
these things to feel at home in your body, in your bloodline, in like what you're here for, and that this is on purpose and not on accident. And you
yeah,
just move through the world differently.
yeah. That I was just for me, it's just I see it differently, and the biggest part of it was the sexual healing of it. And like, again, like I mentioned to you earlier, it's still
Yes.
going on. Still have a lot of work to do, but it's just tapping into that. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there's so much. And if you continue a self-pleasure practice, I would say if there's the thing that would probably be hardest to maintain
Hmm.
is that practice, because it can feel monotonous. Women can drop more into that masculine energy of let's get it
Hmm.
done,
Hmm.
instead of a masculine container of here's 20 to 30 minutes,
Hmm.
and I'm just going to be present with whatever comes up in my body and touch my body however it needs to be touched right now,
Hmm.
and practice being present and not rushing, and also opening when I want to contract and close down.
Hmm.
And it's these subtle nuance things that make a life changing impact.
Hmm. What are some common challenges or misconceptions you come across in your work?
Well, one of them is, as I kind of mentioned earlier, it's this idea or this assumption or belief that the more we embody our erotic energy, our erotic essence, that we will be unsafe in some way or
Mm-hmm.
attract unwanted attention. And again, to be fair, you know, when you first start doing that, yeah, you're sifting through all kinds of energies and you're communicating with the universe, like, okay, this is what I'm putting out and I'm clearing out all this stuff. And you might get all kinds of weird, wonky things in feedback and in response. I had that in 2019. People were like, what is happening? This is too much for me. It's too sexual. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know yet, you know, and it takes time to come back to a place of real harmony and homeostasis that is still dynamic and not boring and dull. So
Yeah.
patience for anyone on this journey. But that is one thing that I do see a lot.
So I want to talk about a little bit about women in their 40s. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if you get women in, the perimenopause,
40s,
menopause.
50s, 60s. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I do.
How can women in that age connect with their sexuality? Is it the same practice or would there be something else? Because women
Yes.
in their 40s and 50s are going through such a big change, right? Dryness, again, hormonal changes, not wanting to be touched. Um, any advice for women in that age?
Yeah, I mean, it is the same practice, but within
Mm-hmm.
that practice, it looks different. So I once had, for an example, this has happened more than once, but the first time that this happened, it was so exciting. There was a woman who was almost 60, and she had never had an orgasm. And she was way, way past her menopause. And she thought, this is it. I'm done. Like, sex is not going to happen for me. I think I'm just not cut out for pleasure. But when she started doing the self pleasure practice, she actually took my course that I released a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when she had her first orgasm, her mind was blown. She's like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing out on my whole life. And you know what the key was to unlocking that was the same. It's being present with what's there. If her pussy said, no, that's as far as I want to go, she learned
Mm-hmm.
to honor that and just cup her hand over her vulva and send loving energy to her body
Mm-hmm.
and just energetically envision that opening up, opening to love, not opening to even pleasure, but just opening to love. And then over time, that practice helped her to open to pleasure and to be able to surrender and open to the extent that is required to have an orgasm. Because that is a little death. You're completely surrendered. You're out of control. You can't think logically when you're having an orgasm. You can't stop okay, hold
Yeah.
on, am I safe? Like you have to feel
Yeah.
safe in your own
Yeah.
body and in your environment. But yeah, so
Well,
it
most
is
of the
it
people,
is
I
the
guess,
same
in their
practice.
age already know their bodies in a way, or at least
Yeah.
learning, right, what their bodies is
Yeah. And
like.
it's never too late to learn. It's never too late.
Yeah.
I also had another client who was 65 before she started consciously self-pleasuring. And she had a lot of religious trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
I specialize in that because that was me too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never too late. You just got to have that heart commitment and create the space for yourself to do it.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
patience.
Yeah. Creating a safe space is definitely very important for women because, again, we women tend to be so rigid and be in these boxes, right? So having that safety and be like, it's okay, being supportive, by their partners, by women like yourself, um, to hear what you do with these women in their 60s is mind blowing. Like you would think, okay, well, I'm already, post-menopausal woman. I'll never experience that again. And then boom, it just comes
No,
out.
no, no.
And it's like, oh my goodness,
The life
and
force
it's
is
like,
still
I think,
there.
yeah. So it's like I mentioned earlier when we talked before recording, it's like, it's not the death. It's the new beginning. It's a new chapter in your life. It's creating
Yeah.
that life force of, being a woman, right? And even if you
Yeah.
don't have a
Yeah.
partner, it's okay to be by
Yes.
yourself. Yeah.
And you don't
Which,
require, that's something that in my uncoupling, when people realize that, oh, my radiance never actually relied on my relationship.
Mhm.
It was self-created and I brought that to the relationship. That's what made that thrive because I had this
Mhm.
internal sense of safety between me and the source and
Mhm.
between me and my inner masculine who could sniff out bullshit, who could sniff out if something was not in integrity. If I
Mm-hmm.
was just like feminine, whatever, the way that it's taught, just trusting whatever the other person is saying all the time and taking it for, without recognizing the deeper truth, the deeper resounding in my wisdom centers of my body that recognizes the truth, I wouldn't have been able to experience the pleasure and the openness and the passion that I did have in my marriage, because that didn't come from him. It never did. It was
Mm-hmm.
amplified by him when he embodied that. And that's something that's really important for women to understand, is that you do not have to wait until you have a partner to
Mm-hmm.
connect with this. In fact, you must connect with this before you can really experience that with a partner.
This is actually really, really good information because I have a daughter who's going to be 17, and I think those are important things to talk about with our daughters, with our children. Maybe
Yes,
not young
yes,
children, I'm talking
yep,
about 17, 18, and so on.
yeah,
It's like, might as well learn now. I mean, there's good time to learn anytime, but the sooner you know, the better it is. And like you just said,
yes.
connecting with yourself first before having a partner is so important. And
And staying connected.
and staying connected and getting rid of that shame, right? Because I find our society today is still very shameful for the
Yeah,
sexuality of a woman, and we women did become so masculine, very masculine. So yeah, connecting
yeah,
and learn and teaching our girls and men at the same time.
yeah.
It's yeah.
Our sons
Beautiful.
too. I mean, I have 3 daughters and 1 son. He's the youngest, but I have 2 in high school. And even with the little kids, as we can start teaching them about things like boundaries. And you don't
Yeah,
have to do this if you don't want to with your friend. Just don't let people pressure you, or your sibling wants to play with you and they're trying to, bribe you with this. You don't have to say yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just teaching them to tap into their own intuition and to trust that and
and
honor that.
listening to their own. Yes, yeah, yeah. Peer pressure, high school. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I remember that.
Even earlier though, I mean, because my high schoolers are solid. They're like, no, I know what I am for and what I'm not for, and nobody can mess with that. It's really
Yeah,
powerful to witness, because I didn't have that as a teenager, and they're
no.
my friends meet them and they say they have more wisdom than the 40-year-olds that I know. Like, yeah,
Mm,
they have, they have witnessed me growing up, and
hmm.
that has definitely shaped them as well.
Mm. I'm an immigrant myself. Came to Canada when I was 15. I'm originally from Poland,
Ah,
and
yes.
yeah, so growing up in the country as well and moving around with my parents, it was the same thing. It was never talked about. We never talked about sex. We never talked about intimacy. We
Yeah.
never, everything that I've learned was through school videos, books, hiding away sometimes in the library when you were like going through some stuff, you
Yeah,
want to learn, being all
same.
shameful and
Yeah, this
yeah,
is
I
dirty.
think yeah, I know. No one sees this. Okay, I'm gonna take that book for the weekend, please. So yeah, so having my kids is very important for me to address that to them, and like you said, having those boundaries and really connecting and
Yeah,
knowing what it's like, because I have 2 boys and a girl as well. So yeah, it's very, very important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also
So
teaching them that containment of their own
yeah,
masculine.
yeah, that's it, right? Knowing it. Yeah. What are the what roles does self love and self care plays in the journey um, for self healing, for example?
Mm. Well, I mean, there are so many different things that come to mind when we think of self-love and self-care. And I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times when we first start awakening to this, there's a lot of realization of, oh my God, I've been people pleasing. Oh, I've been abandoning myself. And then there can be this very valid, right, sense of resentment and blame for the people who have taken advantage of us. So, having witnessed and walked through myself, that part of the journey, and guide many people through that. Once you start to really open to what love actually is, which is not a feeling, it's not an emotion, it's not even a choice, it's what you are. And so when you come home to more and more and more of who you are through the things like, for example, through connecting with ancestors, with spirit, with the divine, with your body, with your pussy, with your womb, with your movement, your life force, then you're opening yourself to becoming more and more love. And you're remembering that and you're emanating that. And so for me, the way that I see self-love is it's not like I'm pouring a cup into myself. I am one with the source and it is constantly nourishing me. So I'm never giving from an empty cup. I'm never giving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also aware of where my threshold is and my capacity in the now moment, so that if this ask that is being made of me is beyond my capacity of my nervous system or of where I'm at right now in this moment, then I can say no without shame or guilt, because I trust that that love is going to provide for whoever that is as well, whether it's right now in this moment or at a later time through me or through something else. So I think that a lot of this self-love we confuse with now I have to meet all of my own needs, and it's not that. That's not how we're created. That's not how we're wired. We're wired to be an interdependent species. We're an interdependent species that needs connection and intimacy. And so I think that self-love and self-care can sometimes be used as a way to detach from other people because it feels safer. And I just want to bring that into the conversation for people to maybe, digest a little bit and self-reflect on the ways that maybe we tend to withdraw and close ourselves off in the name of self-love, when in fact we're just disconnecting ourselves from the ways that maybe love wants us to open to connection. But that love, self-love is just love. It's love. Love is love. So when we learn to open to it ourselves, then we learn how to give it. And in giving it, we simultaneously receive it also.
So if someone is, let's say someone actually has been hurt, right? Deeply for whatever reason in their childhood, that trauma stays with them for a very long time, right? How can they go about to, I guess, release that trauma, let go and heal in the
Yeah. Well,
sexual way, for example, right? Because there is
yes, yes,
steps,
yes.
I guess, before getting into that. But what would you suggest for people with trauma, for example, to heal?
Well, a lot of times, so again, is establishing something prior to that, like beginning to do some inner child work, shadow work, maybe work with therapists or coaches or counselors, someone who can support you, and you can learn how to, your body can embed the experience of feeling safe in an environment. That is such a big step. For me, just emotionally feeling safe for the very first time to just unleash and fully express my heart was in the context of a training with 90 people. And it was an emotional intelligence training with all these kind of energetic aspects. And I didn't expect to get that out of the experience, but that was a big opening, heart opening for me. And then my body learned in that experience, it's safe to feel the too muchness. It's safe to feel the feelings that were always too much for everybody else. So we're making these little imprints in our bodies, in our brains, in our unconscious minds, in our nervous systems, in our bodies, that okay, it's safe. So we make incremental steps. This is another reason why the self-pleasure practice, it can be so powerful, and it was so powerful for me, because we are creating this environment, this safe space for ourselves, for our bodies to guide us and tell us and communicate with us. And our bodies begin to trust us more. So as the body feels safer, we can, certain things will begin to come up. Emotions, energies, memories, things that you just feel the feeling viscerally in your body, but you don't know why or where it came from. And you just give this space to be released. So these are those little somatic practices. I'm very much about working with the body and not just the mind, but also we don't want to leave out the mind. You want to observe what stories do come up. Like, I hear from so many women that they were, molested or abused as children, and they internalize that as my body is shameful or bad. I asked for it. Somehow it's my fault. And so their bodies do not trust any kind of touch. So to work with their bodies in such an intimate and patient way, um, it's life changing. And sometimes too, it can help to have a professional who does. There's a woman actually in San Diego, Emily Abbott, who does internal pelvic work. And she has
Mm-hmm.
such a healing presence about her that any woman who works with her just says, wow, I just had a whole spiritual awakening through this
Mm-hmm.
internal pelvic experience. So finding the places where you feel safe, I would say
Mm-hmm.
that's the
But
most important
start
piece.
start there, and you can move on
Yeah,
to the next. Yeah, it's I think
yeah,
it's not you can fix one thing, but you can't fix everything at once. It's a journey. It's a journey of discovery. It's a journey of playing. It's a journey of so many things, right? Co-creating and
yeah,
so on and so
yeah,
on. So it's like it's not just one thing. It's just like you said earlier, be open. And I think once you
yeah.
open, then things will come in so much easier. Yeah.
Yes. And remember that there's never anything that you're needing to fix. You're just
Hmm.
remembering. You're remembering.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I forgot that I am worthy of all this pleasure, that I don't need to go and earn it.
Yeah.
Those little moments.
Yeah. Well, Lucy, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I do have a launch coming up this month in March for the Holy Vixen course. So this is an embodied sensual dance course where I guide you through different movements and mindset things to set the foundation for more of that embodied dark feminine and light feminine movement. So if that calls to anyone, you can check that out on my site. But yes, otherwise, I'm grateful to have gotten to explore as much as we did today, and I could literally talk about these things all day, and sometimes I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. No, it's very, again, it's very important to connect with ourselves, with our ancestors, with our womb. Like even having my own experience, it really brought so much in my life to actually going into like different, not different direction, but to look at different things of, again, of
Yeah,
how can I help myself to, again, be a better person sexually, emotionally, spiritually, in all aspect. I think it was just so beautiful to do that. So yeah. Yeah. And what about your
yeah.
singing?
Oh yes, so I also do that.
Please
I
share
do
that
that
with
when the
us because
inspiration flows.
your voice is so beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. I have a I the Pisces this Pisces season was very, very ramped up for me creatively, and I wrote a bunch of songs in a weekend. They're pretty spicy. You will see. And I'm releasing them. I'm releasing the first one tomorrow, and then the whole project next week. And then we're
Nice.
shooting a music video the next week. So yeah, I never know when the
Where
stuff
can
is gonna
people find
come.
you?
On Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all of the usual music places, but
Okay.
there are lots of different artists with the name Luci in them. So I would recommend going to my website
Okay.
whenever the project comes out and then look for the link there.
Perfect. I will link everything on the bottom for sure for everybody to um, link to you and get all the information out there. So again, I so appreciate your time and having the conversation with me. Much love.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you,
You're welcome.
everyone.